So, UFC Singapore, unfortunately, we may have witnessed the last fight of, two legends in the sport. First being Takanori Gomi, the Pride legend. He's not just a Japanese MMA legend, but he's an MMA legend. For a long time, this guy was considered the #1 lightweight in the world. I think BJ Penn was universally hailed as the #1 lightweight in the world, but while he was going off to welterweight and while he was even going to heavyweight, Takanori was the lightweight. He was the #1 lightweight at that time. And his run from like 2004 to 2007, that was so dominant. He only lost one time in that span. He even had that classic match with Nick Diaz, and really he was the top lightweight in the world. He was beating everyone from like Jens Pulver to Tatsuyori Kawajiri, and just beating some top guys. And before people start, before the haters keep talking about the UFC, at that time the UFC was going through a dark slump. The UFC was losing money at that point. All the best fighters were in Japan. Okay, so the UFC belt at that point didn't mean anything. It was the Pride belt that meant everything. First, only, and longest reigning Pride lightweight champion, also Pride Grand Prix champion as well. Newer fans, even if you've been a fan for the last 5 years, you still probably don't know about Takanori Gomi, and he's an absolute bona fide legend of the sport. There's a reason why I have so many fighters that have beaten him, like Nate Diaz and Kenny Florian. All those guys have so much respect for him because he's your favorite fighter's favorite fighter. He was the guy that you were watching. You were watching Takanori Gomi's highlights because he was the best. It's a shame that the fans now really don't know who he is. They may have just heard the name and they're out there saying he's overrated and all this other crap. Takanori Gomi made his debut back in 1998. He's been fighting close to 20 years. He has close to 50 professional mixed martial arts fights, man. He's been at it for a long time. But unfortunately, he's 1-5 in his last 6 fights, and he lost 4 in a row, all of them in the first round. He's been finished. It's not good look to his legacy. It's just not good to his health. As much as I would like to see him go out with the win, especially in the UFC, I think that's probably the last time we saw him. And maybe he'll go to Ryzen, and maybe he'll get like a one fight, a farewell fight, a fight that maybe he can win and go out with a victory. But even if he retires right now, I don't think he has anything to prove. I don't think he has anything to be ashamed of. He will go down as one of the greatest lightweights of all time. And like I said, he's your favorite fighter's favorite fighter.
I don't think people realize, man, that Gomi is a legend. He might not be the biggest UFC star. He had a couple losses, but he's done way cooler shit. Some of those last couple guys who beat him, he's done great things, man. Like, when I started fighting, I was watching videos of him. I used to have a YouTube channel back in the day, and I would always favorite his fights and highlights before a lot of people. And before UFC bought Pride, I was a big fan of. I was like, none of the lightweights can mess with the guys over there at Pride.